Besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love,
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun.
and have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate.
He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie.
Allegations, allegedly allegations.
And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, no one's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come. What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today. It is Wednesday, May 21st, and we are recapping The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 2, Episode 2, The Book of Accountability. I know I was trying to get both episodes out on Monday, but I have a 3-year-old. Yesterday was the last day of school. Today was the end of school, end of year, carnival. And I was just like, oh my gosh, can't do it. And this episode, surprisingly, I had, y'all know me in my notes, I had 35 pages of notes. So if you are listening on audio, this does not apply to YouTube, but if you're listening on audio, this will be in 2 parts. But again, if you're watching on YouTube, honey, you get the whole dang thing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. Yeah. Anywho. Wow, it's been pretty wild in the Mom Talk world. I want to remind y'all something. And this is pretty crazy to me that the cast does not get to see the season before we do. They don't get screeners like the Housewives do. You know, usually they end up having to watch like the full season before they film the reunion on Bravo. But Hulu said, no, we want to see y'all duke it out in the comments once you finally watch it. And y'all, they have. I have to tell you the wildest thing. So, of course, a lot of the ladies have gone on the Vial Files. And it was Michaela and Jesse. And they both said that last season when they were filming, they were all on a call or had some sort of mom talk meeting. And that Demi said they needed to really make sure they punch up that ending. Do you know what allegedly Demi suggested in this mom talk meeting? She suggested that they have a fake storyline of her having an affair with Dakota, Taylor's then boyfriend, but forever baby daddy of her youngest child ever, and that maybe they get caught in a car as the season finale together. Now, Brett's come into the comment section saying, oh, this was just a joke. They're making such a thing of it, but it does not sound like that to me. Also, it gave me a little bit of the ick for Demi. Now I'm wondering, did I say Jesse or Demi suggested this? Oh my God. They're easily confused, but it was Demi who suggested this allegedly. And then the girls were on Entertainment Tonight. Everyone except for Layla and Jesse. And y'all, it was the closest thing we're getting to a reunion, if you want to know the truth. Jen and Demi were going at each other. Jen was doing the best she could to stand up for herself. Demi was essentially calling Jen a liar about the cease and desist, about her consenting to having Chippendales dancer, not dancers, but a Chippendales dancer, plus Jordan at the Halloween party. And it was a lot. A lot, a lot. I'm hearing a lot of things. Listen, y'all, if you knew the number of DMs I receive on the daily from people in these women's lives saying, this is true, this isn't true, this and that, it's hard because when it comes to something like that, I'll ask follow-up questions. And of course, like never in a million years, unless someone was like, hey, please share this, or I asked explicitly, can I share this information? Do you feel comfortable with it? Do you have proof, etc.? I would never repeat it. And that's not me just trying to tease. That's me just being a decent human being for the most part. Because sometimes people just need to vent it out. You'd be surprised. But I've just been hearing so many mixed things. And as soon as I can find more information on a lot of it, I promise I will share it. And once I know I have permission to, but it has been wild, y'all. It's almost been like dizzying. These girls they're little cat fights. Anywho, all right, friends. Shall we get into it? And if you want some more of the catching up on it, head over to my TikTok. I've got a bunch of those videos up. And I'll share what I can where I can. I don't have a subscribers only type of thing here on Besties by Bravo. I try to make sure it's available to everyone. I did consider it for a minute, but I was like, ugh, I don't want to hide behind a paywall because I still have to say allegedly and all of that behind a paywall. Anyway, so I'm not going to make y'all pay for that. Anywho, okay, so we're picking back up at a happy hour with no alcohol because apparently, that's happy hour in Mom Talk. And it's where it's being asked, why is it now that Miranda is trying to get back in with the group, with Miranda saying that the number one thing holding her back from being a part of Mom Talk was her marriage. As, once again, she did say that it was for the sake of her marriage that she left to begin with. And why would she choose to stay in Mom Talk after the soft swinging scandal and Taylor alleging that Chase told her he had feelings for her? That would be so bizarre. How could you stay like, hey, we're besties still. Like, let's do our little dance and do a voiceover and let's just call it a day. Let's hang out. In confessional, Macy brings up that Miranda was fully a part of the swinging situation and feels that she and Chase bashed Taylor online following it. So once again, the timing of rejoining Mom Talk when things are successful feels disingenuous to her. Michaela tells Miranda that she's not really on board with her and really isn't also wanting to be in group events with her every weekend. Y'all, Michaela, sometimes my son would call her a grumpy monkey if someone seems grumpy or annoyed. He calls them a grumpy monkey. And sometimes it is embarrassing because it will be in public to someone we don't know. But sometimes Michaela can be a little bit of a grumpy monkey. If you have kids, you know the book. Okay, The Grumpy Monkey. Michaela, so Whitney shows support for Miranda, saying she believes her and that her intentions are in a good place. But in confessional, Michaela says that she doesn't believe any person there wants Miranda as a part of Mom Talk or cares and feels that Mom Talk is her own chosen family, so she's incredibly protective of it. So she also says that she wants Whitney and Miranda just go off, frolic into the sunset and be gone, the two of you. Macy says it was so much of a he said, she said thing when it came to the soft swinging scandal and that they just don't want to be lied to and want to know the actual truth. But Miranda says she denied it all in the beginning because she wasn't ready to own up to it. Now, listen, okay. This bothers me how so many people are still coming down so hard on Miranda and Chase about this because we're going to get more into the explanation, especially from Chase, as to why they didn't own up to it. I'm sorry, but I am not going online in front of millions of people to talk about my sex life. Thank you so much. If I'm going to do that, it will be at my own discretion, my own timing, and my own choosing. Taylor, I am very sorry that you were made to look as though you were cheating by yourself and having an affair, and I completely understand why you feel the need to defend yourself. But it's such a double-edged sword. I understand both sides, and that may annoy people because people tend to love, or I shouldn't say love, a lot of people tend to very much want you to take a side when you speak publicly about especially this crew. I can't take a side on this because I can understand both. Okay. Sorry. I know it's boring, But Miranda says that the only reason she said the kissing thing, as it being the only aspect that she was involved in, is because she still finds it weird and awkward to talk about with how much shame she felt when the church was factored in. And y'all, you can't forget that. Okay. I mean, it is a culture of shame around sex. Oh my God, am I yelling into the microphone? I feel like I am. Sorry. I'll calm down a little bit. Y'all, I'm just a loud talker. And with my new little AirPod things, I can't even hear myself in my mic, which is terrifying. Anyway, Taylor tells her that she thought that Miranda believed she'd been leading Chase on and says, I've never liked Chase a day in my life, and that's why he hates me and is obsessed. But I told him about a dream. I'm sorry, what? In confessional, Taylor tells us that she thinks Miranda believes she led Chase on because of telling him about a sex dream she had about him, and that she viewed that dream confession as a nothing burger in comparison to what was going on with all of them behind closed doors. Okay, yeah. I don't know, y'all. I feel like I've made this clear. I am far too psychotic to ever consider anything like this. So also, I may be the wrong person to comment on this, but even if y'all were doing all that, you told him when she wasn't present. If you felt that it was nothing, then you should have told him while she was in the room, in my opinion. Okay. Miranda says she felt that Taylor telling Chase about this sex dream opened up a space for Chase to feel comfortable saying certain things to her. In confessional, Taylor tells us for what has to be the umpteenth time that Chase came to her in the gym and confessed feelings for her and that he was trying to open a door and she shut him down. So I have to put this in here that Chase absolutely has vehemently denied this happened. And in situations like this, I have to say I do believe there's a middle ground. That maybe he didn't straight up say anything like, oh, I'm in love with you, Taylor. But maybe he, after this sex dream comment back and forth, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of feeling some things, you know? And Taylor retelling that aspect grew into something far bigger. I don't think there's always he's lying or she's lying. I think it's maybe something in the middle. Okay. Miranda points out that Taylor told everyone in the group but her about Chase's supposed confession to her, and that's what her biggest issue was. Taylor does concede that it was her bad and was not being a good friend by choosing not to go to Miranda with this. See, they were, yeah. I mean, it's almost like they needed some sort of a mediator within the soft swinging. You know what I mean? Of course, they couldn't ask a parent to help because they would have sent them to, well, they don't do Hail Marys in Mormon church, but I don't know what they would do. Lock them up in their garments or something. And anyway, that Taylor says she felt that she knew either way she would be losing Miranda that day that all of this went down. Miranda reminds Taylor that at that same time, she was only 4 months postpartum. And y'all, I need to point this out again. Think about how young Miranda was. My God. Because in that last episode, her daughter is like 3 and she's 26. Y'all, she was like 23 when this happened. I don't know if it's that I know I was such a walking disaster as a 23-year-old and my brain, I mean, we know it wasn't fully developed yet, but still, oh my God. Oh my God. They were, I mean, really, when you think about it, they were just exploring their sexuality. They had jumped timelines as young adults into marriage and children and literally were doing the things that kids their age do in college without marriage and families. They were just too immature to be doing that stuff. You need to do it when you're older. Even then, it's messy, but there are plenty of people who make it work. And Tay, see, that tells you how I take my notes. Taylor is kind in her response, acknowledging that Miranda was 4 months postpartum. Whew. It takes a full year before you feel that you're not in the full throes of postpartum. Even if you're not wearing that diaper anymore, it still feels, Miranda reminds Taylor that she too lost a best friend that day in Taylor. And Taylor does have understanding in this further, acknowledging that she should have come to Miranda in it considering it was her husband. No kidding. Taylor says in confessional that the Mom Talk girls have really had her back in all of the scandal, but because they weren't an actual part of it, then they don't fully grasp really like the nuances of it all. and that she and Miranda need to have a conversation between the two of them without all the spectators. But they conclude this conversation on a good note, with Demi saying in confessional she hadn't considered how close Miranda and Taylor had once been, and that it makes more sense why Miranda would want to be back in and try to reconnect. Taylor tells Miranda she believes she's a lot softer these days than she was back in that time, which Miranda says, yeah, I think I can see that. And Taylor says she felt only empathy for Whitney when she was getting hammered on the internet over her first season, because she's been there. And when you're just getting kicked while you're down, it can really make you nuts. Yeah, but y'all still go at each other. So how far does the empathy go? Taylor and that Scorpio moon. And I have a Scorpio moon too, my friends. Once it takes us a minute, if you really get us there, oh my God. And especially if you're young and have access to millions of followers the way she does. In confessional, Whitney says she's trying to make amends with everyone in the group and hasn't felt as though she's actually wanted there. Yeah. I mean, even Jen, who's pretty sweet for the most part, was like, I can't believe you're even coming to this. But she hopes they can move forward and continue getting in a better place. It appeared really to end on a good note with everyone except, in confessional, Jessie says that she's still confused and felt that Miranda continued to skirt around the issue and the truth of the swinging scandal. I don't know. Jessie, I'm starting messy Jessie. You know, I hear the producers call her that. And she has really become, I feel that I would say Layla as well, but I think there's a difference. I think Jessie has become producer's pet because she doesn't necessarily need the money, but she's having fun and she's enjoying all of this in the process, which go for it, girl. But she is definitely a producer's pet. I feel that Layla is unintentionally a producer's pet because she's so young and she tends to be influenced quite easily by whoever is in front of her. But Jessie has absolutely become producer's pet. So anyway, this further drives my point here home. She's then in her confessional brings up the Halloween party she's throwing next week and how she will be inviting her friend Kate, who is Chase McCorder's girlfriend. So she wants to get them all in the same room to get to the bottom of what the truth is. If you guys have already gotten the truth from Taylor and that's what you believe, why do you have to hound them now too? I know you just, I don't know. It's like, what is the freaking point at this end? I don't know. Jessie, Layla, and Michaela are shopping for cowboy boots or Halloween costumes. I'm not sure which one, but Layla talks about her new boyfriend, Cameron, in confessional and how they've been together for 4 months at this point. Also, his father is a bishop, but she talks about how great he is. But we also know they're broken up at this present time. So Demi shows up now and they talk about Jen letting Zach move back in the house and question how much he could have changed in the span of time since the Vegas trip. Again, this was only a few months prior. Jessie points out that it's rare there's a success story in a relationship that it can go straight up to that high of a high from that low of a low, where, you know, Zach was texting things like, I don't love you, you're a bad mom, etc. Oh my God, murder. Don't remind me. Okay, so if you want to know everything that was in Zach's text to Jen, you can go to my TikTok, or if you, okay, you know what? Forget it. Pause. I will let me bring it up and I'll read it. Okay, fine. Let's do it. Let's do it. The text that he sent Jen in Vegas for the Chippendales thing. Okay. BRB. Let's have a little refresher on what Zach did text Jen while they were in Vegas, shall we? Seriously, I don't want to hear one more thing about your heart. Start taking accountability for your actions and the situations you put yourself in. You're a grown woman. Doesn't matter sorry, give me a second. Doesn't matter your intention, you were there, and that's the image you portray of yourself, family, church, etc. Everyone you represent with this platform. The fact you would have to ask me is our word. Would you ever find, I believe it said, someone's, now I forgot, it's on my TikTok video. I'm doing this for audio and YouTube, but would you ever find a friend of theirs asking Kyle, their husband, that? No, because she respect her own values and her husband and would never put herself in that situation. The fact we are even having this conversation is sad, especially after everything with the temple. then she's covering up some of it, but it says something about how dumb you could something. You're a worthy temple something and sticking up for something and being at a male strip club, I assume. If even really, I mean, it's like a whole entire novel. Okay. So he not only said what she was doing was the R word, your heart surgeon there, America, does not know how to use proper grammar. Okay. Told his wife she's not worthy of the temple. And that is just one of the many messages it seems she had received. And we did hear that, he was saying, I don't love you. You're a bad mom, etc. Okay. So there's the refresher. Anyway, wow, Jesse's eyes, by the way, in this scene are so beautifully blue. My God, they glow in the dark. She's like a cartoon almost. And I'm not being mean. I mean that in like a compliment way. Does that make sense? Because I also genuinely don't think contacts could enhance them that way. Did y'all see that? My God. Of course, what do I know anymore? In confessional, Michaela tells us what we already know, which is that the women tend to put up with more in their marriage within the Mormon church due to divorce being frowned upon. But they conclude that it's a trial period for Jen and Zach, and she claims she'll be kicking him out if he doesn't act right. Girl, you better. Oh, the boys go fly fishing. Why? If we're going to have straight men around, I need them to be in the periphery. Periphery? Really, Caitlin? The periphery. Here I was making fun of Zach for his grammar, and I can't even say a word. Dakota is from Idaho, and that's what they did there, fly fishing. I don't know if this says more about me than it does about the state, but I am quite certain I have never met anyone from Idaho. Have you? Or Iowa? Or Rhode Island? Connecticut? Either. Never mind. I need to get out more. I'm pretty sure. They asked Dakota how things are with Taylor, and oh, good. He grasps the fact that he effed up by lying to the mother of his child for 2 years over and over when he had lots of opportunities to tell the truth. Wild how men can suddenly realize it's wrong to lie only when they get caught. Dakota tells the guys that he's never been a dad before, obviously, and that I feel like I'm losing that. Aw, freak. The Mormons are so silly with their cussing. Like Jack Barlow, Lisa's son, and his fudge college, honestly. That will live rent-free in my head forever. Freaking fudge. In confessional, he talks about how he loves Taylor so much. And even though things are toxic with them, he feels supported by her family and mentions Leanne inviting him to a barbecue at their house this weekend. The flashback of Leanne calling Dakota to invite him over on speaker with Taylor's dad. Taylor's sister is there, and her father telling Dakota, "You better be there, pussy." Sir, WTF. Vaginas are stronger than any penis ever could dream of. I swear to God, these toxic men who think that just because their genitals are on the outside, that makes them superior. Our strength lies within, Mr. Clean with your bald head. When he's asked, Zach says that yes, he is in fact back in with Jen and only came back a few days ago, and that he and Jen have been doing ketamine therapy. Cool. So we're gonna get high, trip balls, and then suddenly we're like, we're good. Almost as though there are people out there who do that, and we call them drug addicts. That's funny. Not dissing ketamine therapy. It almost makes me want to try it, but it kind of scares me. He admits that with the Chippendales temper tantrum, his reaction was wrong and starts trying to have a moment for the monologue he rehearsed. But Dakota just immediately in the middle of it goes, shit, because he got his line all tangled or some fishing term of the like. And it really represents so much of who Dakota is as a person to have everything just so tangled up and just not with it. But we find out that Zach is not currently going to church, and that while Jen wants to go, it's really from his side of things that he doesn't want to go. And then we find out that he doesn't want to go just because he's embarrassed. And they've apparently had a few nasty reactions reactions and interactions with people within the church. Dakota says he went through that and got death threats from women, while Zach says he got hundreds of DMs telling him he deserved to die. No, guys, come on. We don't do that. We don't do that. No one deserves to hear that. I may joke about my 6 foot by 6 foot holes that are in remote locations, just in case just whenever I just want to talk. I just want to have a chat, you know. But if you want to insult these men, don't send death threats. I don't know. Just DM Dakota that he doesn't look like Jake Gyllenhaal, or you've got the air of a man who just discovered journaling last week and you already think you have mastered therapy. Or you feel like someone who tells people at Costco you're famous on TikTok. I don't know. And maybe for Zach, it's like your mouth to face ratio was a little off. Or maybe you should have looked up the anatomy of a gaslighting narcissist in med school because your pick would have been the example. Or I don't know, you look like you yelled at your mom for your eggs being too cold. Maybe you look like what happens when a Hollister model huffs the cologne. Something like that. But no death threats, okay, because that's vile. But it's concluded the bros love their bros and that Dakota can't multitask. Now Demi and Jesse are meeting up with Zach. Jesse says she would rather deal with Whitney than go up against someone's husband, aka Zach. And she tells Demi that Zach said he wanted to meet with them after a ketamine session. Huh, funny. It didn't go down like that. It went down like Jen said, so when are you meeting with them? Zach says in confessional that he's very nervous about going into the meeting with Jesse and Demi because he feels that they can get very aggressive. Oh, you don't like it when women get angry, Zach? Oh, is it scary? And he wants Jen to feel that she's supported by him. But he feels that Demi and Jesse spread a lot of rumors and lies about him, so he's very nervous about how this is going to go. He also, literally looks like he's about to shit his little pants in confessional. The girls show up to meet him at a coffee shop, which Mormons can't drink hot caffeine. So what? Why'd you suggest that? They can't even, that means they can't drink hot tea with caffeine in it either. So they joke that this feels like a job interview where he chose to have them meet him and crack a few interview questions like, what are your strengths and what do you struggle with? But Jesse immediately says to Zach, I know what you struggle with. Just kidding. No, you're not. I agree, but you're not. He starts off by saying that he feels like there's been contention since Vegas, admitting that his gambling and then having a crash out over Chippendales has him looking like the biggest hypocrite in the world. It's almost as though he watched everything everyone said on TikTok, because he definitely did. He says he could have easily told Jen that he was bummed out about the Chippendales thing. Why does he say bummed out so much? He always says bummed out. Well, I'm just bummed out, sweetie. I don't know why it bugs me. Maybe it's just because it's coming from Zach. I don't know. I mean, I want to believe he's doing better for their sake. I genuinely do, but also Anyway, and he says that even though he got that she was just trying to be a supportive friend by going to Chippendales. Also, bummed out. Why? I have a hook in my car over bummed out. Young man, you did not just get bummed out. You had an epic toddler meltdown temper tantrum. Even my 3-year-old, who, listen, his rising sign is a fire sign, and he is a Cancer sun. You want to talk about big freaking feelings. He would have even said that you needed to calm your body down and take some deep breaths. He then claims he's grateful for the things that Demi and Jesse said because it transformed their marriage. Bullshit. Gary Busey. In confessional, Demi is just going, what is going on? He is doing a full 180, and I wasn't really expecting this at all. Then Zach says he wants to address with Demi that after watching the last season, he felt that Demi was talking some major shit on him. Well, yeah, because you were being a dick. But Demi says, major truth, not shit. Just calling out behaviors, that's all. She's such an odd voice. I'm telling you, I feel like Demi's voice does not match her face. It just doesn't. He tells them that the statement that he gambled away his medical school money is a blatant lie. And Demi and Jesse tell him that's exactly what Jen had told them. He then claims he doesn't want to throw Jen under the bus. I think all 3 of you would love to throw Jennifer Affleck under the bus. Especially you, Zach. You would have only spoken about the things you needed to take accountability for and said nothing of what you claim are the lies if you really had intentions of moving forward and making changes and taking accountability. Simple as that. But when Zach says that the medical school money being gambled away is a blatant lie, Demi says that she would have never said this if she hadn't been told that. And she even apologizes that she said this if it isn't true. Now, Jesse, because she's dying to have a gotcha moment for Jen, that's supposed to be your friend. And you have spent all this time believing her husband is abusive, at least emotionally, verbally to her. And so now you want to throw her into the fire with him if that's what you've believed this whole time? Wow. I mean, who needs enemies with friends like that? But Jesse is bringing up the things that Jen has told them and calls the language that Jen has used about Zach a little scary, ma'am. Because apparently to her, the word narcissist is scary, and how she had said that Zach needed to change as a narcissist. Okay. You know what? I'm wondering if the word narcissist or narcissism in general is that scary to you, Jesse. You know what they probably should have had in that haunted house that you guys paid to go through? A wax figure of Jax Taylor. If it's that scary, you would have peed your little pants. This flashback shows Jen only saying that Zach has narcissistic traits that are passed down genetically. And what? Okay, y'all, I freaked out like completely thinking Jen was full of shit saying this, but apparently you learn something new every day. There are factors in narcissism that can be passed down genetically. Oh my God. But a Google search says that studies show 50% of the cases are that way. So still, 50 is too high for me. That's scary. Jessie tells him that she thought the things Jen had been telling them were things that have been a part of the conversations between Jen and Zach. Zach appears surprised by hearing that Jen said these things about him. In confessional, Jessie says that she's at a point where she finds herself not quite believing the things that Jen is saying to them, and that she had been blaming it on the relationship because of the concern over Zach's reaction. But now she questions if these half-truths are seemingly full-blown lies, just due to Jen people-pleasing, or maybe avoiding confrontation, or just lying to lie, essentially. No, I don't think Jen was just lying to lie. I think Jen has spent a long time in her life wanting to feel important and feel valued. And also, she's been fearful of Zach's reaction to things. And she thought she was in a safe place with you bitches. How about that? Sorry, I have strong feelings. I have big feelings. I do. I made fun of Zach for his big feelings, but I too have big feelings. Huge ones, in fact. Zach now brings up the feeling that Jen has had around how the girls were really there for her in Vegas, but now feels as though they've essentially abandoned her in the aftermath. Yeah, they were gung-ho, and basically I think they would have only been there for her if she had left Zach. So she didn't do what they wanted, and now they're like, well, F you, bye. But Jesse is actually very pissed off by that belief, because they say they've both reached out to Jen and heard nothing back. Okay, in this moment is where I feel like Zach, in my opinion, is giving me covert narcissist the way he's trying to play victim, saying that he's going off of what Jen has told him, and that because she's his wife, that's what he's supposed to do. It's giving, I know, ladies, I can tell you're starting to see that Jen is a monster liar face, and you should feel sorry for me, but I'm so changed and so good to my wife that I'm taking her side of things because, I have to do that because that's what you guys said I had to do, even though, I don't feel that way. But you guys said I'm supposed to take her side no matter what, even when I don't believe her or I disagree with her. Gosh, do you see this dilemma I'm in, ladies? It's, what it feels like it's giving to me? I'm not allowed to wear Lululemon joggers, right? 2 years ago, Jen told me Lulu joggers were her thing. And then for Christmas, my parents got me these really expensive Lululemon joggers. And I had to pretend I didn't even like them. And it was so sad. Demi says it sounds like a pattern and that they've only been getting Jen's side of things, adding in confessional that there are definitely patterns in the things Jen says, and it feels like Jen is spinning things in her favor. And if that's the case, then she needs to be held accountable for it. Demi, you are not judge and jury, Miss Ma'am, but okay. He tells them he's realizing that it sounds like there are some tough conversations he needs to have with Jen. Oh my gosh, y'all. We are now at Taylor's parents' house, where Taylor shows up with just the cutest little cutie patootie ever, Mr. Ever. Her mom, Leanne, asks Taylor if she knows Dakota is coming over for dinner, and Taylor's just like, I don't care. But Leanne's like, you 100% do care, and that if you didn't, you would have already been gone. Okay, yes. Leanne, that is an accurate read, and the way no humans on the planet can read you for filth like your own family is just unfair. but it's about to get several leaps beyond a read for filth, friends. In confessional, Taylor admits after meeting with Jenna that she's really struggling and not so great with the communication between herself and Dakota. And because of that, it's making co parenting difficult, but that her parents really want the two of them to make it work. That is so goddamn toxic. Ugh. I get that y'all don't want her to have eventually what could potentially be a third baby daddy, but if it's healthy, loving, and a safe relationship for Taylor and the kids, wouldn't you think the number there means absolutely F all? Mhm. The Halloween party is brought up, and her mom asks her what she's going to dress up as. And when Taylor says she's going as Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls, which also forgot, see, me quoting Mean Girls earlier was actually not intentionally tied with the fact that the girls dressed up as the plastics because I genuinely forgot about that until now. So, and ew, her father goes, "Are you a slutty Gretchen or are you just Jeremy, sir? Go outside and do some yard work or something. Dig a hole. Get the hell out of here." She informs him that she's simply dressing up as Gretchen in her cat suit and it's pretty covered up, but it's none of your business, Dad, because I'm a grown freaking adult. Go dig a hole. Regina George's mom asks Taylor, oh, I'm sorry. Leanne asks Taylor who's going to the Halloween party because she wishes she could go. Does anyone else find that odd? Like, I'm not dogging on her for that. It's a little weird. Why would you want to go? I'm just curious. Taylor asks Leanne, why? So you can befriend Chase and talk to him? Her sister Aspen says, like, yeah, I don't know why you like Chase, to her mom. So listen here, regardless of whether you think Taylor should despise Chase or not, if I dislike someone, that means my mama hates you. Okay. If I'm unsure about you, she definitely dislikes you completely. But if I despise you, she needs you off this earth. Okay. So this is just wild to me that Leanne cares less about her own child's feelings than her own business, her own feelings, and everyone else's. Okay. She says that Chase and Miranda are nice to her, so she doesn't see why she should have to be mean to anyone. Girl, this is not like a friendship. This is your daughter. Like, if it's just like a random friend, then no, you don't have to be rude to anyone if they're kind to you. But let's continue on here. Okay. Because there's too much to get into. All right. I'm simmering. Okay. I'm not at the full like roiling boil, but I am simmering. Okay. The pot hasn't, boiled over, but it's coming. I'm going to try not to yell into this microphone. Okay. In confessional, Taylor says her mom has always been this way with taking her side, actually, I should say, rather, not taking her side. So it shouldn't surprise her because her mom is a real estate agent. And remember, if y'all watched or got any, time in with the Bravo show Sold in SLC, her mom was on there. We had a little cameo. But it turns out Leanne had sold Chase and Miranda their home when they were still together. Now, Leanne asks Taylor if she has a problem with her staying in touch with Chase and Miranda, but she lets her know she doesn't have the bandwidth, Taylor does, for that mess when she's already got so many other issues to worry about, Leanne, it's not about you at all. In fact, it's not your show or your, okay. Dakota shows up. In confessional, he says he believes that the only way to have a lasting relationship is to get really good at forgiving each other. You know what? I do actually fully agree with you, Dakota. I do. I also think there are limitations. And for Taylor, that was a boundary. She let you know it was a boundary quite a while ago. It's pretty awkward when he comes outside with Ever and says hello to Taylor. And, I think it was her brother's girlfriend or something. They sit down for dinner and it's so very awkward. Taylor is like, this is my show. I am the Kim Kardashian of this family. I will sit at the head of the table. Thank you so much. Make sure you get my lighting right, cameras. Leanne calls out Taylor for being quiet and closed off and says that the back and forth of Taylor and Dakota's relationship is just so exhausting and that they're all tired of it. Y'all, I gotta admit, I gotta give them this one. I bet they are so goddamn tired of it that they could just ram their head into a wall. Because we've all had that friend that would fight and fight and fight with their boyfriend back and forth and back and forth. And you'd be like, are you effing kidding me? Break up or go away. I don't give a shit anymore. Don't talk to me about it anymore. And have I been that friend before? Absolutely. I mean, why do I empathize with Taylor so much in this? That's why. Okay. Jeremy, her dad, says, it's obvious you guys started your relationship on a foundation of shit. Well, that would explain a lot. Probably smelled real bad and put him in a bad mood, which Taylor adds and lies. While Jeremy continues by saying, let's be honest, you didn't heal from your divorce. And he looks at Dakota saying, and you had a ton of baggage going into it yourself. Dakota starts tearing up, saying he always cries at these things. Huh. Which makes Taylor's parents laugh. Oh, you're just so charming and endearing, Dakota. As her brother tells Dakota that his emotions show he's such a good human. But Taylor is rolling her eyes, and she is just beyond this, all of it, at the other end of the table. Then her brother goes on to tell them that relationships are not 50-50, but rather that they're 100% both ends, that it feels lacking on one end. That is a true statement, but also, aside from the lacking on one end, let's, I can't tell if he 100% was aiming that at Taylor or if the editing is intended to have us believing that he was fully aiming that at Taylor. Taylor says that it's going to take her a while to get there with him after she'd heard Dakota had slept with another girl and then finally admitted it. So when she was processing that he'd slept with someone else, she was devastated. She needed space, which is when he took the opportunity to go hook up with Jenna the night she found out. Sir, that's pretty. So because she was very hurt by you sleeping with another person, you went, well, okay, guess I'll try and do that again with someone new. Okay. Dakota turns to her parents to defend himself, saying he'd only hung out with Taylor 2 or 3 times at that point. But Taylor's not done. She brings up how he had told her she was, quote unquote, pretty much the only girl he was seeing. Then says, I'm trash to him. And you come over the next night and F me. Which, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, Brigham Young, Taylor in front of your parents. Is it Joseph Brigham Young? I don't remember. Yeah, I think so. Joseph Young. I'm trying to at least stay within your religion as I am, taking names in vain. But it's continued, saying he would go hang out with this girl, then come back over the next night and F me. Oh my God, Taylor, not once, but twice. You said it twice in front of your parents. Again, this is where I feel that the stigmas and shame around sex that she has grown up having pressed on her, have her feeling like she is trash. And she gives Dakota the possessive terms in their moments of intimacy. I'm not a therapist. I'm playing armchair quarterback, to be very for real, but that's how it feels to me. And it just makes me sick to my stomach for her. Now Jeremy goes, here's the thing. I'm going to be blunt frickin' fudgin' frackin' dap namit honest. He just told me that you guys had been seeing each other 3 times before all this, and you're sitting there telling me that he came over and had sex with you? What does that tell me about you? And does the whole hands up like, sorry, just hate to be a truth teller over here. Jeremy, Dad, go inside and clean a toilet with that bald scallywag of a head. It tells you she's young, hot, and wanted to enjoy herself with someone she considered the same, you dirty little slut-shaming hamster. Go inside. Go use a magic eraser. The guy will look familiar to you on the front of the package. She is clearly, Taylor, and understandably, triggered and tells him that it's what she's been saying, which is that she's trash, and starts crying. Lord, now it becomes, I'm trash. Taylor, no, don't let them. Don't let them. Don't dissolve into nothing. Come on. In confessional, Taylor says that what she's hearing is you deserve what you got because you were intimate with someone that quickly you weren't married to, which obviously hurts her that her parents don't believe she deserved respect just because of that. And of course, in Taylor's mind, it confirms her insecurities and false beliefs about herself. Her parents are yelling at her, backtracking on what Jeremy very clearly and explicitly implied about his daughter, that she's a slut for enjoying naked time with a fellow human before marriage. Guess we're all a bunch of sluts. Taylor is crying, screaming. that she hates herself and Dakota because Dakota knew she was at her lowest and she is just sobbing. Her dad is yelling at her to let him finish, but sir, you have nothing to finish here because you said exactly what you intended to say. You did. She tells him it doesn't matter about the fact that both she and Dakota had baggage when he lied to her so blatantly about hooking up with another girl because that was her boundary. Whether you agree with the boundary or not, it's a boundary. Okay. Her brother is unwise enough to tell her that she should be giving Dakota the benefit of the doubt. And now she's shrieking at him about how she just found all of this out because she did. That's the thing here. Can any of you people consider she's had this info for maybe like a day or two? Because at this point, I would not be sitting at the same table with Dakota. No, we would be having one of our little chats at one of my special little 6x6 holes out in the middle of the woods. I won't tell you where. No one knows. But her brother is also unwise enough to argue with her, claiming that no one is telling her to get over it right this second. No, you're all saying she should have already gotten over it because you think she's a slutty McSlutterson with no self-respect for enjoying a little naked time with a man she is attracted to. She shouts that Dakota was asking Jenna to hang out during the day and only hang out with her at night. And excuse my French, but what the fuck, Dakota? Now I am even more mad at you. I'm mad at you. Instead of speaking directly to Taylor, he says that he's so sick of hearing her say that and claims it's the biggest lie ever. And her family just sits there and watches him point his finger at Taylor and tell her she's a liar. And then, Dakota yells at Taylor, and when you're asking me to come over at night all the time, what is that telling me as a guy? Why is no one going, what is that telling her as a female? That you, sir, may be a slutty McSlutterson. If we're going to do that. Oh, there's so many things here. So now Dakota is going to slut shame her and then not even recognize the fact that Taylor would have invited, part of why she would have invited him over at night is because she has children and is a single mother. And did you ask her to hang out during the day? And fine, to be fair, I don't know that she asked him to do that, but regardless, okay, I'm going to be on Taylor's side of this in this scene because she's now been slut shamed by Dakota and her parents both. But the real issue here is that this sweet baby, little Mr. Ever, is getting upset hearing all this yelling. And you have to wonder that if these two could yell, scream, the profanities, all of it at each other, saying these things in front of her family, her parents, and the whole world with cameras around and the tiny boy sitting there, how bad was it when no cameras or family was anywhere near them with their little one in the house? That's, yeah. Mm-mm. Can we please also consider that even though this lucky bitch does not look like it, she is what, like 5 months postpartum? Hello? Additionally, I think, you know what, Jeremy, Mr. Clean, and Leanne, you both need to either get on board or get off. You either need to let her be the Kim Kardashian of the family because Kim Kardashian's family would not have the money they have if she had not had that sex tape leak. And we're not going to get into the semantics of exactly how it did because that's none of our business. Everything that isn't my business, I try to make my business because I'm nosy as hell, but still, either get on board, let her make the money that is going to benefit you too, or shut up. It's leave her alone. Either you need to be on her team, or I don't think you should get to benefit from what she's bringing to the table now. Okay? Now Dakota wants to be a victim in reminding Taylor that he was coming from a bad place in his life. As she tells him, then don't come into my life pretending to be the type of person you did. As he immediately yells over her to not come into his life. This is a pattern with these two. And I'm sorry, Taylor, I love you, but I also hate you both. I'll give her family that one concession here. Y'all know they are so sick and tired of these two fighting and screaming at each other as foreplay. Maybe it is floor play for foreplay. Like, really, though? Her brother tells her to give an inch so she can go a mile. Oh my God, shut up. I feel like you're her younger brother, so shut up. I'm not saying he's giving bad advice, but at the same time, if she doesn't want to be with him, then leave her alone. But we don't know that she doesn't want to be with him right now because she's obviously going to still go have sex with him later because this was foreplay for them. She's very frustrated though. In confessional, Taylor says she feels like everyone is coming at her and telling her to move on and get over it, but she is fully, ugly crying, sobbing at the table while her father now is trying to wax poetic about it takes a season to grow. Dab nabbit. Cheese and rice. Mormon's cussing will never not be fascinating to me. Her mom randomly comes in with saying that she thinks Taylor needs to forgive herself. That's what the issue is. And yes, I fully agree that Taylor needs to forgive herself, but enjoying intimacy when she consensually decided to do so, God. But then her mom says, because you guys weren't really together to me. And yes, you shouldn't have slept with him. And that's why we always tell you, Leanne, stop. She's an adult. If she wants to sleep with a man, she can. But also, yes, should she have been maybe using some form of birth control? Yes, but also that's all of y'all's fault for not having proper sexual education in your Mormon church. Instead of using abstinence and shame as a way of birth control, how about you use science? God damn it. God damn it. But Taylor's yelling at her mom that that's not the effing point. And her mom says that, yes, Dakota lied, but that's not the point. Oh my God, are we just going to repeat ourselves 20 times? So Taylor says, what exactly are you saying then, Leanne? And Leanne tells her she needs to go to therapy. Yes, agreed. But also then she says, give Dakota some grace and that if Taylor loves Dakota, then it's worth trying because family is everything. Y'all really want them to try though? Do you really? You want to sit around a campfire roasting your little marshmallows and eating bonbons while these two repeat the same phrases back to each other until they find a new phrase to latch onto to repeat back to each other? Is that what you want? You want to do that forever and ever and ever? But her saying that gives Dakota the opening to hammer onto Taylor that he's still been trying to work things out with her. And he's now crying, saying that it drives him nuts because he feels that Taylor knows how much he loves her and that all he's wanted is a family. Her family or family with Taylor, because you're right now just trying to take her family. Her sister finally says, Taylor and Dakota need to stop and that they need to be separated. Aspen, thank you. Thank you, Aspen. At least Taylor has one ally in her goddamn family. God damn it. She points out, yes, Aspen, yes, that their sweet, precious boy can feel the tension in the house between them. And God bless her. God bless her. Yeah. Aspen, come on. Let's keep it. Yeah, all right. Anyway, she tells Taylor that if it's God's will for them to be together, then he'll bring them back together and that it's Satan and you in your head right now. Sweet girl, if it were Lucifer in her head, honey, she'd be banging him on the table right now because you're at about stage 3 of these two using the fighting as foreplay. Okay. She's not listening to old Lucifer in her noggin. They would be doing so much worse. But Taylor says she thinks she was punished by God for what she did with the swinging. Sweetheart, I don't know that I believe that that's how it would work. But if I did, I think you done been punished enough. And if you were supposed to be punished for sex, then why would God make it feel so great when it does? Okay? I'm sorry. Let's just take the shame out of this shit. Leanne is tired as hell. And she's over it. So she has to work in the morning. She wants to put a lid on this. But, she's not going to let them leave before she gets a prayer in because they didn't pray before dinner. Nothing like a good old retroactive dinner prayer. In confessional, Taylor admits she can't close the door on Dakota completely yet, and she loves Dakota, so that's why she's in so much pain. And duh. But Tay, your family, except your sister Aspen, she's on your side. They are your biggest haters in the scene. Biggest haters. I know Taylor took to social media to defend them, saying that they're her biggest supporters, but this was giving all the hater energy, babes. All of it. All of it. Zach comes home from a meeting with Demi and Jesse and tells Jen that they told him the only reason they have bad feelings toward him is because of Jen and that it's always negativity. Okay. Wow. You really want, like, you're playing it, aren't you, Zachary? Mm-hmm. You're playing it because you want her to be terrified now and hate them. You wanted them to hate her and her to hate them. Wow, that's incredible. Wow. He's saying to her that they told him all Jen says about him is how horrible and narcissistic he is. She's coming off as being quite shocked that they would say these things to him and says she hasn't spoken to those girls since Vegas, adding that they never reached out to her, which he informs her that they called her out for that as well. He says he didn't feel as though it was a let's squash our beef with Zach type of interview meeting, but more so that it was everyone against Jen. Oh my God, the isolation techniques. Wow. I don't know if he learned from the best or really studied hard. Don't know. But she's like, what? Are you kidding me? Because she was at first thinking it was everyone against him, which it is. I think she'd been feeling comfortable with it being everyone against Zach, I'm not going to lie, and finally having the upper hand in the relationship with his behavior. But now Jesse and Demi gave Zach all the ammo he needs to use against her. Great friends you have there, Jen. He says he made mistakes and that he believes he's so careful with what he shares with his closest friends because he feels that she does negative things as well. Look, everyone does, okay? But he's using his way of bringing this up feels very opportune. She tells him that since Vegas, all she has done is defend him on social media with her friends, etc., but that she's not been defending his actions. She asks him if he has any idea how many people have made her feel completely delulu for defending their marriage. And this, even further, is the perfect opening for this man to slide in with that isolation of her, because he tells her that if she doesn't trust them, he's going to ask her that she doesn't share anything about their marriage with them. Keep it a secret. She starts talking and he tries to interrupt her, but she's like, nope, no. You have been talking for 5 minutes. Let me speak. Okay, girl. Reclaiming my time. Thank you so much. She says she talked about him negatively before Vegas and denies the girl's claim that she continued speaking badly of him. In confessional, Jen says she's completely confused because her belief was that Zach's intention with meeting with Demi and Jesse was to apologize to them. And I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure exactly what Zach needed to apologize to them for. Was it for treating Jen the way he did or talking the mad shit he did on them in the text messages saying, oh, Jesse cheated on her first husband, Demi's been divorced, blah, blah, blah. And sir, who in the Mormon community at this point has not been divorced? My God. She really doesn't seem to understand, though, how it suddenly turned back around on her. And I'll tell you why. Because he did not have that intention to go in with an apology. He immediately jumped in, remember, friends, saying that they were telling lies about him instead of apologizing for any behavior on his end. That's on Zachary. It is. Jen says she needs to have a conversation with the girls and that if they were really her friends, then they wouldn't be trying to turn her husband against her. They both conclude they should all four sit down and have a little powwow. Oy. Okay. Demi and Brett go to Jesse and Jordan's to work on some things for the Halloween party because they need to rehearse for the surprise Chippendales performance. In confessional, Jesse says she thinks this will be a great way for Zach to show he's changed and have them all move forward. I mean, my God, I don't know, Jesse, like really. I'm just wondering how stupid you think we are at this point. I'm kind of dumb sometimes. I can be kind of a dumb bitch, but my God. Jordan asks Brett if he thinks Zach will be chill about this, and it's decided, well, it's a bit of a coin toss on how Zach will react. So Jordan asks Brett, okay, do you think you're a bit of a pot stirrer? But Brett's self-examination is that he's not a pot stirrer. He's a therapist and a storyteller and a lawyer and an embellisher. Just, okay, sir. Now, Demi asks Jesse about inviting Chase's girlfriend, Kate, as well as Chase, which Demi says in confessional that Jesse inviting Chase is super messy because of the fact that everyone has hooked up with everyone there. And we once again get this backstory of it being with Tate, Taylor's ex-husband. And And he clearly gave absolutely zero zilch negative clearance for his name, likeness, nothing to be used for the show, because it's just a silhouette of a man, kind of like a Guess Who silhouette. So we've got Taylor and Tate, her ex, and the swinging with Miranda and Chase. And Demi's retelling of Taylor's version is that Chase fell in love with Taylor. Do you see how the story changes? It went from feelings to in love to and says that when Taylor did not reciprocate those feelings, Chase got quote unquote butthurt, and that he's been bashing her online since. We also find out that Chase and Layla hooked up at one point for sure. I thought they actually didn't. That's funny. Okay. In confessional, Jessie admits in the normal world, she would never host something that she would have all these people in the same room together, but that she's determined to get to the bottom of what the truth is in the whole swinging scandal. So basically in your real life, you would not listen to some people with headsets and, walkie-talkies on who say, nope, you got to do this. It'll be good for the show. And that's what you did instead. Producer's pet. Okay. I'm not saying it's a horrible thing, but let's just call the spade a spade. But also she says that especially if Miranda wants to rejoin Mom Talk, they got to get to the bottom of it. And now we've got our Chippendales guy who was flown in, who's wearing a singular chandelier earring. Just a nice little chandelier, which cool. We get a flashback of his little booty butt. If you guys don't know, that's what my son, we call it a booty butt, because otherwise he'd be running around just yelling butt all the time. Now Demi and Jessie are going to enjoy watching them practice, and God bless Jordan's little heart. That man, sir, you kind of have the hip movement of a geriatric after 2 hip replacements. There's nothing loose in there, and that's okay. And not all of us have loose hips, but you, sir, they are stiff. I don't know that you could find an 8 count in the room. Is it here with us? They get Demi in the chair for her lap dance, and Chippy, we're just going to call Mr. Chippendales Chippy, is body rolling all over her in front of her husband, which would be so weird. That'd be a little awkward. I'd be like, oh, okay. No, okay. Keep your panine away from me. Thank you so much. And then Jordan, honey, oh my God. After Brett does his turn, oh, why are they making you do this? It's just, no. But he comes up with a like crossing the arms over the Oscar Mayer move, and the music just grinds to a halt. I'm sorry, Jordan. It's not your wheelhouse. It's okay. In confessional, Demi says she's nervous because she knows this is a bad idea, obviously. Whitney and her gay BFF, Connor, go shopping for baby clothes, and she's due tomorrow. And oof, Jen and Zach are coming to Jessie's house to chat with her and Demi. Oh, okay. Well, in confessional, Jen tells us how it hurt her to hear that Demi and Jessie were questioning her integrity with the things she said, and makes her wonder if they support her as a friend. You don't have to wonder. They don't. They don't, babe. And basically that if they have an issue with her, confront me about it. Don't go talking shit behind my back. But that's what they do here. We get started. And Zach says to the girls, he told Jen the truth, which is that they told him when she was with them, Jen would be talking negatively about him. And that's exactly where Jen would like to start, because she, I think, has a hard time having her own voice when her husband is in the room. And I understand that. That's what the church would like for her to be. Silent. She asks the other girls if they feel that they've only heard negativity from her, because she feels that the past 6 months, she's only spoken of the progress that she and Zach have made, and admits that, of course, they have ups and downs, but feels that she has trusted them as friends, thus confiding in them, but that she hasn't been purely negative about Zach and their marriage. In confessional, Demi finds it odd that Jen is so put off by the involvement of everyone in her marriage when she feels that Jen brought them in it and brought it to them. I'm not disagreeing on that, because you can't be bringing these intense things that are sounding like Zach is a true monster. And we've seen him be a complete and total little shithead. And you can't just expect your friends to have zero opinions on it when they love you. Okay. What I think is actually so off-putting is that they would then go to your husband and talk shit on you, talking shit on him. Okay. The flashbacks that we get that are supposed to be supporting what Demi is saying are mostly from last season, which again was only a few months ago at this point. And then the most recent chat that she had with them was just her saying they need to break this generational trauma of the narcissistic traits or she'll be leaving him. Demi continues on saying she finds it ridiculous that they're having opinions on that. I'm sorry, continues on saying she finds it ridiculous that she can't believe they're having opinions on the things she's telling them. Again, yes, you can 100% have opinions, but you're also kind of outing the stress she's confided in you to her husband, who, in my opinion, has been verbally abusive. And you can get frustrated and fed up, but why are you trying to make their relationship worse when they're trying to make it better? Regardless of why, Zach seems to have gained some form of cognitive ability, real or fake, to recognize that he's been a royal douche canoe. If they're making an effort to have a better marriage, why are you trying to thwart that? That's the real question to me. Because I get that you don't want to be made out to look like a liar, but you know what? There's a thing in friendship, and especially, like in girlhood. Sometimes if I have to look like a liar to your husband to protect you, I'll go ahead and look like a liar to your husband. Now, they are looking like liars to the whole world. But instead of going, okay, you know what? I'm going to take one for the team and letting it be known in confessional. Hey, you know what? Actually, I'll take this one for Jen when it comes to Zach, but this is what was actually said to me. Instead of going directly to him with it, I don't know. That's not necessarily like the most, I don't know, on the up and up way of handling it, but still. Demi tells them that she'd been told Zach was gambling the family money away for medical school, which then she says, which apparently is not true. I would like clarification on that because I would have never said that if it wasn't true. Again, her voice is odd. And, if it weren't for the fact that Demi saying that would mean slander, then I'd say it's none of her goddamned business. But I'll give her this one where she wants to know and let it be known she actually had no intention of lying. And in her mind, she was not lying. So, but Jen lobs it over to Zach to clarify it for them because Zach thought he was coming over here to just watch his own wife be set on fire. He's already stuttering and uncomfortable. And I think little Gary over here, he really thought this was just going to be a flaying on Jen and that he wouldn't have to sit in any hot seat. And I think he wanted to see Jen get into some trouble here instead of dealing with his own shit with these two. And I will say, there is one aspect I do not blame him for being nervous or a little uncomfy with this sit down with Demi and Jesse, because I'd be kind of shitting my pants if I had to face off with the fraternal Weave twins. He tells Jen that's not what he's there to get into. All right, because this isn't about me, even though it was supposed to be. Got it. But if they are, he would appreciate Jen just coming forward and telling the truth. Well, no, you say it. I'm not saying it. You say it. And the way he looks at her, I'm not able to decide if I think he's forcing her hand to lie or if she really did straight up lie previously. Can't really conclude that from that look because I still haven't gotten to know Zach well enough. Jen looks at the Bobbsey twins and God, you know what? I don't think, I don't know if I have Gen Z listeners. I would be surprised if I do, but I would love it if I do. But I don't know if Gen Z knows I'm not referring to the pins you put in your hair, but the Bobbsey twins. Okay. Anyway, she tells them it's not true that he gambled the money his family sent them. He admits he was sports betting and gambling behind Jen's back. Now, in confessional, Demi is very WTF about it all because she says that one of the main reasons they were concerned for Jen in her marriage was because of the gambling away their money. And yeah, okay, fair. I still don't know why this has to be all four of them, but all right. Jen looks at them and says that if they really did have the best intentions, then they wouldn't continue to talk badly about her relationship. Uh-oh. Oh, girl, you're in danger, girl. You are in danger. Demi says that every conversation they have, she tells her to trust her gut and never says Jen needs to leave Zach because she's supportive of work it out if you can. Zach tells them that the reality for Jen is that she doesn't feel that they've been very supportive of her, with Jen bringing up that she felt that no one was there for her in the aftermath of Vegas. And I don't blame Jessie for being very irked by this, because she says she sent Jen a text saying, I have a feeling that I should check in on you right now. I love you. Hope you're doing okay. And sent a voice memo as well. And Jen says she disagrees with Jessie, telling her she can't. She disagrees, I'm sorry, with Jessie telling Jen, you can't just disagree when it's a fact that she did check in on her. And sorry, Jen, but I do agree with Jessie. Like, babes, if she sent the messages, she checked in, period. There's no gray in this. It's black and white. In confessional, Jessie says she sent multiple messages and Jen would only reply with a thank you type of response after 4 or 5 days. Demi tells Jen she's the one who decided to remove herself. And Jen says it's because she felt that she had confided in them and didn't expect them to exploit the information and tell the whole group, with the whole group turning on Jen as a result. And then, OMG. Jen says that she could have done the same shit to Demi when she confided in her after Italy, which obviously is in reference to Vanderpump Villa. Okay. Jen does say she's not going to put what Demi confided in her about Italy out there, but Demi stops her and asks, about what? About what? Because here's the thing. If what Demi confided in Jen was the part about Marciano, where she has now alleged that Marciano assaulted her by groping her, then that is royally, pardon my French, fucked up that Jen would even consider bringing that up when Demi asked that no one repeat that. That would be her story to tell if she chose to. And that's for Demi to say that. If what she's alleging is a fact, then yeah, Jen, that But what Jen and the other girls who were there have now alleged is that it wasn't that, and it was rather that Demi was being inappropriate with Marciano, whether it be emotionally, verbally, maybe not necessarily physically. So we believe women when they say anything at all has happened to them. And I'm sorry, but I will be on that side. And just because there have been women who have not been truthful about that in the past does not mean that women who come forward from there on out can't be believed. Okay. Period. Jen is stuttering a bit now after Demi asks, what about Italy? By saying to Demi, just everything that happened in Italy. And Demi asks again, what happened in Italy? She's like, say it, bitch, type of thing. And Jen says, well, just how Brett was crying to you. Demi denies that this happened and says that Brett told her she had nothing to worry about. But it does seem that Jessie knows exactly what Jen is referring to, because she asks if this is from when they were in the hotel room. In confessional, Demi says Marciano was super flirtatious with her and that she handled it the best she could and nothing happened. From what we saw, I didn't see her do anything wrong. But we've heard that the two of them were out there for hours talking. So I don't know. Oh, that's awkward. Demi thinks Jen is just grasping at straws to turn it all around to being Demi and Brett being the ones with issues to cover up the lies Demi feels that Jen has told. Jessie tells Jen that she's not coming for her husband just to do it, and that she's doing all of this out of love and support of Jen because she's been where Jen is. And in confessional, she says that Jen is starting to show erratic behavior and lying, and that she doesn't think her behavior is really that good for mom talk. Oh my gosh. The way these girls talk about mom talk, it's like a beauty pageant. Okay. Anywho. Now Jen is trying on an option for her Halloween costume. And she's trying on a nurse's costume because obviously she wants to remind us that Zach was supposed to be a doctor. Is that going to ever happen? I don't know. But she's not feeling the nurse costume, and she suggests that they go as J-Lo and Ben Affleck. Oh my God, Jen, no. Don't do it. Oh, because then Jen goes, and he is your second cousin. So like, and Zach immediately goes, no, he's not. And she very firmly says, yes. Yes, motherfucker. It's almost like, yes, Yes, because if he's not related to you, then why did I marry you? Because I've been dealing with you being a prick for so long, only for the fact that I get to say I was the first Jen Affleck. So what are we doing here? But Zach is just like, well, if that's what you want to keep telling people, oh my God, this is, look, I believe, in my opinion, I am watching some gaslighting here. Okay. Because I do believe she has been told that they are related to the Afflecks, the other Afflecks, the Hollywood Afflecks. Jen reminds him that this is what his family has told her, and he says that it is not true. In confessional, she says that Zach is trying to squash it, even though his family did tell her that. And our editors, they just whoop, take her last name off the Chiron because she was the only one who had her last name on there. And I think it was a family joke that she didn't get the memo on, and they let her run with it because they're assholes, I think. And they probably laughed at her behind her back because she ran with it. But Zach seems to enjoy letting her be a liar and look like a liar. Also, we had, I remember my family, we had a distant uncle of some kind who it was claimed that this uncle that we were supposedly related to was an actor that was on like Beverly Hillbillies and a bunch of other stuff. And when I go like to make a little post on my personal social media account about it, my mom's like, "Oh, we're not related to him." So I had to go back and delete it. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm a moron." But also I do know what that's like, where you think, okay, yeah, y'all told me. And then it's like, oh no, it's not true. Well, God damn it. I feel her pain on this either way. I do. She sits down and asks Zach what he means by saying he's not related to Ben Affleck. Yeah, this is a real conversation on a reality show on Hulu right now about Mormons. Okay. But he says he's not going to get into it. And she's like, no, no, no. You're not going to be out here making me look dumb as hell, basically. He claims he has told her for months that he's not related to the Hollywood Afflecks. And it's interesting that she doesn't confirm or deny that this man has told her that that wasn't true. But she questions him on it like, okay, but do you actually believe it's true that you are not related to them? Or what do you believe? He says no, and that he never told her he was related to Ben Affleck. Girl, if you don't clear this up, Miss Ma'am, you're going to be looking all kinds of silly here very quickly. Yeah. She's now interrogating him if he's heard from his family that he's related to Ben Affleck. And he says it was said as a joke, but she's like, how do you joke about something like that when you're marrying into a family? Okay, so while that may sound like a very weird thing to say, you got to remember that Mormons are really, like, really into genealogy and keep meticulous records. So I think it's kind of like the Mormon in her being so obsessed with needing to know the truth about whether he's related to him or not. And I mean, to her as well, the Mormon in her feeling like it's incredibly important to know whose family you're marrying into. Either way, if it were me, I would have needed, because it's who I am, some real proof they're related if I were her before I went around saying anything. In confessional, Zach claims he has no idea if he is or isn't related to Ben Affleck, and that it'd been a joke in his family, and says that he did tell Jen she shouldn't be telling people this. Which is when we cut to Jen telling him that his grandfather told them they'd met Ben Affleck. And also, I mean, how incredibly bizarre that we're sitting here having a conversation about whether someone is or is not related to Ben Affleck on a show about Mormon wives who dance for their phones. She tells him not to make her feel crazy after he finally admits that he was there when his grandfather said this. Okay, so why'd you gaslight her about that all the way up until here? Because you're making it sound like you've been like, no, he's lying from the get-go. He also tells her he wouldn't have run with it like she did. And she says, of course I ran with it. I'm second cousins with Ben Affleck. And he straight up tells her, no, you're not. And then goes, well, maybe you are. I don't know. In confessional, he says this is Jen's battle and not a thing he's going in on, and that he's more concerned about dealing with Demi and Jesse at the Halloween party. Again, the way like neither of you will go to battle for the other really bothers me. Come on. If you're going to do this, do it. You know what I mean? It's concluded that he's going to do his best to move forward with Demi and Jesse, and that it's her decision, as in Jen's, at the end of the day, on whether she wants to be friends with them or not. Okay. We're getting to the Halloween party. Ooh. And you are not, Jesse, this was messy as hell. She is trolling the excuse me, but fuck out of Jen, dressing as J-Lo at the Grammys and Jordan dressed up as Ben Affleck. I mean, in confessional, she does admit that Jen and Zach are probably not going to be happy about their costume, but she didn't anticipate getting into a big fight with them before the party. So basically, it's not my fault. You were being a little shithead either way. Okay, it's not that I don't like you, Jesse, but you were trying to be an asshole. We meet Layla's boyfriend, Cameron, and okay. How do I be kind, be nice, don't be a bitch, don't be a bitch, don't be a bitch. Okay, got to do Taylor Frankie Paul's mantra here. Can we do something different about the hair on the head and in general, the hair on the top of the head and the facial hair? I feel okay. You got to stop there, Caitlin. We find out Dakota is on his way and that he and Taylor, of course, got into a huge fight the night before this. In a flashback of a call between Jordan and Dakota, Dakota's telling Jordan that he doesn't want to be around Taylor when she's pissed off. And then Jordan, it's like A, he's such a guy in his response, and B, knows the lengths that Jesse and these producers went to as far as they possibly could so that Jesse could be messy to ensure that Dakota was there to cause drama. You know, he's got both those things in his mind. And I would not be surprised if somewhere Jesse was off camera going, tell him to come. Jordan, you tell him to fucking get his ass in here. He's supposed to be a school bus. If he doesn't show up, it ruins the other girl's whole costume. I need to make Taylor cry. He tells Dakota, well, it's a big party, so you can just avoid her. Sir, on what effing planet would Taylor let that man be within a mile of her person without ensuring he knew that she knew he was there and that he better acknowledge her presence? No, that is not how Taylor Frankie Paul operates at all. But Layla and Jesse agree that Taylor and Dakota need to grow the hell up and get over themselves. Now Taylor shows up. Jesse is so excited for Taylor to get that her costume is J-Lo and that Jordan's costume is Ben Affleck. But she doesn't get it. And Taylor's like, am I an idiot that I'm not getting this? Jordan's costume, no. It doesn't, it's not giving that. He needs to wear the jeans, the navy thermal, hold a cigarette and a Dunkin' cup, look exhausted, and maybe just wear a name tag, you know, and that's it. But anyway, Jesse tells her they're roasting Jen and Zach. So, okay, you're roasting Jen and Zach with your costume and doing the Chippendale thing. That's too much. And dude, it's too much, way too much. And Taylor goes, you assholes. Agreed. All the other girls look super cute. And Demi is not Fruity Pebbles. She's Fruit Loops. It's kind of dorky, but it's still cute, I guess. It's brought up to Taylor that Chase is coming. And obviously she's not thrilled that it'll be Dakota, Chase, and Miranda there. Jesse tells Taylor that her friend Kate, who was dating Chase, told her that she was trying to test Chase by saying she was really nervous about going to the party. Like, oh, I don't know if we should go. And that he was in turn like, we have to go. And I'm sorry, this was very immature in my opinion. You invited him and now you're making fun of him for coming. Make it make sense. Jen and Zach show up, but Zach's Ben Affleck costume, I think, is at least better than Jordan's. But could you not have like spray painted your hair a darker color at all? Or a wig, anything? In confessional, Zach points out that clearly Jesse is messy Jesse, and he fully realizes Jesse is taking a jab at he and Jen's expense. Dakota shows up as the school bus that hits Regina George, and I actually think that was a great idea. Simple, fair enough. You can't rely on the men to really go all out unless their wife like buys or makes the costume for them. Chase McWhorter and his girlfriend Kate arrive, and they're dressed up as Justin and Hailey Bieber. And I gotta say, y'all may call me crazy, but I do feel like Kate kind of looks like Hailey Bieber, and he is pulling off the Bieber better than I would have expected. Like, listen, love him or hate him, they do look like a great knockoff of the Biebers, okay? In confessional, Miranda explains that yes, Chase is her ex-husband and Kate is his girlfriend, and how much she really likes Kate. And I love that Chase and Miranda do not disparage each other in any way. They speak kindly about one another, and they are truly very respectful of the other, which says a lot to me. And I do think that that needs to be acknowledged more. It's sad how rare that is, especially when you watch a show like The Valley and you see the difference between how those two treat each other and how like Jesse and Michelle treat each other. Okay. She does admit she doesn't want Chase at this party. Miranda does. Chase goes and says hi to Dakota, which Dakota tells us in confessional he finds it weird, even though Taylor's already mad at him. So he's like, okay, well, I'll be nice. Taylor is over there talking to Demi, wanting to know what's happening with the conversation that Chase and Dakota are having. And Demi is already instigating the F out of things here, and she is only getting started. She's getting Taylor riled up, saying that Chase and Dakota are over there just giggling. Uh-oh, do we have a new giggly squad? We find out what's really being said when Chase tells Dakota he doesn't know why he and Taylor hate each other. And then, oh God, Jesus, Chase, why? He asks Dakota if Dakota ever asked Taylor if Chase had effed her, because the answer is no, and says that nothing happened outside of spin the bottle, even though he feels that the whole world believes they had sex. Sir, can we not with that? Thank you so much. Chase is telling Dakota that he hadn't even told his parents when Taylor went online with all of the swinging shit, and that he is a returned missionary married in the temple. I don't know what that means, but okay. And that he hadn't told his parents that they had left the church. So because of that, he and Miranda were on this train of deny, deny, deny. And I have to say, it makes so much more sense to me now. Aside from it being completely fair, in my opinion, that they didn't want the whole world to know about their sex life. I mean, Taylor took it upon herself to tell everybody what multiple people were doing behind closed doors. Ooh, but I also get why Taylor was like, no, if you won't tell the truth, I will. It's so, I wish I could take a side on this. I can't. I understand both sides. Every time I keep bringing up my thoughts on it, hoping I will find more of a secure stance on it, and I can't find one. It's making me nuts. But it does sound like a lot of the denial from Chase and Miranda came from fear and shame around the church and from their parents. They were so young. Because, oh my God, I would have been mortified. I mean, it's mortifying that my parents even know that I had to go about things in a certain way to have gotten pregnant with my son. That's embarrassing enough for, in front of them. But Chase points in Taylor's direction. She's across the room, which Taylor picks up on, and she's getting pissed. But this is when Chase is explaining that the only cheating that I guess counted was on Taylor's end, allegedly, however we want to say this, when it involved Braden Rowley. Because remember, McKenna and Braylon, oh my God, McKenna and Braden Rowley, they were a part of the soft swing, but McKenna wasn't in Mom Talk, okay? Well, Taylor's triggered, so she hauls ass right over there and asks what Chase and Dakota are talking about because they were pointing at her. And Chase just goes, I'm talking about you. Safe to say he's not scared of her. Y'all, I would have been shaking like a leaf and cowering. There ain't no way. I like to talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, I would be shitting my pants. Dakota says he's going to toss it on over to Chase, who tells Taylor that when people ask him about her, he tells them that he says 98% of his interactions with her have been extremely positive. And he talks about her family, how much he loves them. But that because Taylor will bring up the lowest point in his life, he then tit for tats with her and brings up hers. So she asks him what exactly was the lowest point in his life. Oh, yeah, well, then what was it? And he says it's when she announced they were swingers to everyone, and she doesn't seem to believe that. So he asks her what it is she thinks is the lowest point in his life, but she says she won't say it for his sake. Oh, okay. Taylor, just say it at this point. What have you not been afraid to say at this point? It's mention it. Mention it all. Dakota basically says what I am, which is that if you're going to bring it up, then you gotta freaking say it. And oh, yep, remember Taylor and I we share Scorpio moons, and she is triggered. So she looks at Dakota and goes, don't tell me what to fucking do. She has got that whole snake neck, head bobbing and weaving. And if you see a woman doing that, gentlemen, back the F away. Okay. It is for your own safety and well-being. Kate, Chase's girlfriend, comes over as he's trying to say that he wants to explain it all. So Chase asks Taylor, all right, are we going truth for truth right now? And she tells him to go for it. So he asks her, did you tell me at the gym you had a sex dream about me? And she very nonchalantly says, yeah. And he points at the camera, telling her to say it into the camera. And my God, besties, I fear every single one of these people were made for reality TV. She says she already talked about that, which, yeah, she did. He didn't know that at this point, but yeah, yep, she sure did. He asks her why it took her 2.5 years to admit to that, and she turns it around on him, asking him what he told her at the gym. He says that he told her he also had a sex dream, and she says that that's not true. Dakota finally is saying, do you know how awkward this is for me? Oh, Jesus. Oh my gosh. I think I have a ghost in here, guys. I have these colored lights, and I'm not kidding you. They keep changing colors and they're not on a timer. Nope. Um anyway, okay. Back to it. Y'all, the ADHD is real sometimes. But also, Chase, dude, you got to stop looking into the camera as Taylor is drilling you. It only makes you look guilty because people only look into camera when, like, in that way, when they're guilty. And it's because I know what Demi is about to pull with you that I can't take it. So, also, absolutely dead at what is appearing to be the only Black man at this party, staring at this group, looking straight into camera like he's on The Office and cannot believe what is happening in front of him. He's like, oh, what? What is happening? Okay, all these white people are absolutely batshit. I think I'm going to go home, but I'm also very entertained. You white people are absolutely insane. But Chase denies ever telling Taylor he had feelings for her. Taylor says it's obvious to her that Chase is lying at the moment, and because Dakota knows what's good for him, he says he thinks Chase is lying too. And whether Chase is or not, Dakota knew better than to disagree with her right now. Okay, sorry, but no, he knew better. No one can find Demi or Jesse because they're upstairs with Jordan and Brett, probably fluffing them for their Chippendales performance. We're still okay. Okay. Anyway. But Taylor and Chase are still going back and forth, with him saying, yes, he told Taylor he had a sex dream about her. And she's just flabbergasted because for her side of it all, it's not the truth. And now Dakota isn't still going back at Chase. She's going to turn on him. Now, because Dakota's not going back on, coming in on Chase, Taylor's turning on him. It's very much, I just find it funny how, she wants him to fight Chase, though. That's all it is. She really does. Dakota is wondering what the F he did wrong here, but I don't know what Taylor wants the man to do. If he doesn't feel like throwing punches, then he doesn't feel like it. Chase came in being friendly. I don't know what Dakota was supposed to do. So she's yelling at Dakota now for not handling Chase and Knuckle Sandwich over claiming she is lying about the gym conversation. That either way, it would matter if you are married and are swingers. I mean, I could never because I'm psychotic, but y'all both were out of line. Come on. Chase's girlfriend, Kate, is trying to calm him down as Taylor is yelling at Dakota. And then we cut to Brett. We'll call the other guy Chippy and Jordan going 1, 2, pump, 1, 2, pump. If that ain't the least heterosexual shit I've ever seen, it's like the opening of one of those softcore gay adult videos. I want to say, I feel like Connor is somewhere very angry that he wasn't invited to dance with the boys, but I also believe he would probably prefer to dance with the girls because he's the only one of the men who can actually find an 8 count in the song. He knows the 8 count is in the room with him. The other men do not. Dakota is saying that he only found out that Taylor told Chase she had this sexual dream about him a month ago and that she never told him that. Oh, no. Chase, sir, run. Because Chase goes, oh, you never told him that? That's crazy. That's really opportunistic. I mean, he's not wrong, but still. In confessional, Taylor's saying she feels betrayed by Dakota, which she asks Dakota why he would believe him, Chase. And just when I thought I had seen the least heterosexual shit a group of Mormons would allow to be associated with themselves on TV, Chipper Dale himself is now fixing Brett's bow tie while they're both oiled up, as Demi is next to them, dressed like a space bowl of Fruit Loops. Is this what an acid trip is like? Because I feel like I'm surely high right now. This is a very odd scene to be looking at. Now Taylor is just going in on Chase and looks at Kate and tells her, "Your boyfriend's a freaking liar." As Dakota, who can't believe I'm saying this about him, but I almost feel bad for this little dummy just standing there completely lost, saying he doesn't know what's going on. And Kate goes over to Miranda and cries to her as Miranda hugs her. And can I say again, what a wonderful relationship they have. But don't get your claws stuck in Miranda in Kate's hair, Miranda. She did a lot of work to get it nice and slick back, and your Mr. Krabby Patty guy, Claw, would just screw it all up. And now is when we get the foreshadowing of the cops showing up, just as Taylor is yelling, "F you, you're a liar." Y'all, this was a beast of an episode. I had so many thoughts. I had so many things to talk about. But keep an eye out. Episode 3, I'm going to do my best to get episode 3 out this week, but I don't know. Maybe over the weekend. I think this will be a weekend thing for me, episode 3, because now keep an eye out. I will be recapping The Valley, and then I will be recapping Summer House tomorrow. I'm a busy girl, booked, busy, and exhausted. Besties, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. I hope you have joined the conversation. Chit chat with the fellow besties. And if you're listening on audio, do me a solid, please. Leave a 5-star review and a comment about what you do like about the show. It really does mean the world to me. It does. And it supports this show in so many ways. Also, please be sure and go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's at Besties by Caitlin, Caitlin. And go subscribe to YouTube. I'm doing the video podcasts there too. It is also at Besties by Caitlin, Caitlin. All right, my friends, keep an eye out. The Valley recap is coming soon. Thank you again for joining. Bye.